Chapter 2 Cascading Style Sheets and JavaScript. Cascading Style Sheets or CSS allows you to specify styles for the visual elements of the website. It helps us to keep the information content of a document separate from the details of how to display it. This detail of how to display the document is known as style. Styles specifies the appearance of particular page elements on the screen. Keeping the style separate from the content helps us to avoid duplication in coding, use the same content with different styles for different purposes, easy maintenance of code. In HTML, for example, if we want contents of some paragraphs tag P to appear in bold, then we have to insert the bold tag B every time the P tag appears in the source code. If the website is large, repeating the tag every time becomes tedious and time-consuming. But using CSS, we can set all element types to appear in a style as per our choice. So, even if we have more number of P tags in the website, using CSS, we can set the style for all the P tags at once. Thus, we can say that HTML is used to describe the information content of the document and not the style, while CSS describes the style of the elements in the document and not its contents. Using CSS, we can control the font types, font and element colors, pad space, margins, and element positions in our website. Syntax of CSS. The syntax of CSS consists of special symbols known as rules. A CSS rule has two main parts, a selector and one or more declarations. The selector is the HTML element on which you want to apply the style. Declaration consists of a property associated with the HTML element used in selector and its corresponding value. The general syntax of CSS is defined as selector, that is property, value. This figure gives an example of one such syntax. We can easily add CSS using Composer. Let us learn how to add CSS to a web page in Composer. To make sure that Composer uses CSS by default, click Edit, Preferences. This will open Options dialog box as shown in this figure. Select the General category on the left side of the window. Select the checkbox Use CSS styles instead of HTML elements and attributes if it is not selected. Composer will now use the CSS styling instead of HTML to format the text. Assume that we want to design a website and the heading on all the web pages should follow a particular style. For example, all the headings 1, that is H1, inserted in the web pages should follow the style as given. Font, that is Times New Roman. Case, that is uppercase. Alignment, that is center aligned. Background color, that is light blue. Border, that is dotted border. Follow the steps given to create the CSS for the above heading. Open a new file. Give the title name and save the file. In the composition toolbar, select the Cascade button. In bracket, note, if the file is not saved, the page title dialog box will be opened. After giving the page title, save the file. This will open the dialog box as shown in this figure. Using this dialog box, we will define the styles for each element. Click on the first radio button, that is, Style applied to all the elements of type. From the drop-down menu, choose an element to create the style rule. As we want to create a style for heading 1, We have selected H1, that is heading 1, from the drop-down menu as shown in this figure. Click the Create Style Rule button. You will see that the CSS Style Sheets dialog box remains open, but the options will change. This figure shows the H1 element just below the heading, that is Internal Style Sheet, on the left pane of the window. For each element we add, a style rule will appear in this list below the heading, that is Internal Style Sheet. On the right side of the window, you will see various tabs like General, Text, Background, Borders, Box, Lists and Oral. Each of these tabs can be used to give a specific style to the element. But all the tabs may not be applicable to the selector for which the style rule is created. Now let us create the style rule for H1 selector. Select H1 in the left pane of the window. Click the Text tab as shown in this figure. This will show various style options like font family, font size, line height, color, case, alignment, and many more. We will now select the options as per the style required for H1. In the font family section, select the predefined radio button and choose Times New Roman from the drop-down menu. Choose uppercase from the case menu and center from the alignment menu. This figure shows the options selected. As you change the options, you can see the default text in the window changes automatically according to the styles. To set the background color, select the Background tab. This will open the options for the background as shown in this figure. In the color option, click the Color Palette button. This opens Block Background Color dialog box as shown in this figure. Select the color of your choice and press OK button. This figure shows the Background tab after selecting the color. Note, if you want to keep an image in the background, then in the Image option, click on Choose File and select the file for the background. To set the border, select the Border tab. This will open the options for the border as shown in this figure. If you want to apply the same border on all the 4 sides, tick the checkbox in front of the text, that is, all 4 sides use same border style. You will see that only one option, top, will be enabled and all others are disabled. This is because the effect made on a single side will be applied on all the 4 sides. From the drop-down menu of Style, select Dotted. You can also specify the width and the color of the border as per your choice. We can also see the preview of the border style used by us. Press OK button. There are more options available if you select other tabs in the window. But in our example, we require only the selected options for applying style to H1. Click on the General tab. This will show the CSS code which is generated as shown in this figure. If you know HTML coding, you can also edit the code. Thus, we have created the style to be applied to H1 tag. We can use the same procedure to create a style for any other element in the web page. To add other elements, click on the arrow of CSS button in the upper left corner of the CSS Style Sheets dialog box. Choose Style Rule from the drop-down menu. After adding the style rule for all the elements, click OK button. Let us now use the CSS created for H1 tag in a web page. In Format Toolbar 1, Select the Heading 1 option to insert a heading in the page. When you select the Heading 1 option, your cursor will automatically be placed in the center of the web page. That is, as we had applied center alignment in CSS. Type some text. The text will appear in uppercase with font style, that is Times New Roman. This figure shows a web page that uses heading 1 text with CSS applied to it. So, now wherever you insert heading 1 in any of the web pages, the style will remain the same for all. Select the Source tab at the bottom of the window to view the CSS style sheet code. This figure shows the CSS code in the head section of the page source code. Advantages of CSS. From the above discussion, we can say that CSS allows us to set the format of the website without changing the underlying structure. By separating the layout and format properties of the website from its underlying logical structure, we can make changes to the website without the fear of accidentally changing the data. The web designer's job is made easier as to change the style of an element. He only needs to make modifications in the CSS file. Since we have to set the style for each element only once, the CSS has less code compared to that in HTML. Thus, the web pages will load faster. Using CSS makes website designing quick and efficient. Disadvantages of CSS. The CSS compatibility varies with different browsers. This means the sum of the style sheet features are not supported by the browser, and the style cannot be displayed as per the user's design. But nowadays, the latest browser versions are more standard compliant and the compatibility issue has reduced. JavaScript. HTML was originally used to control the appearance of web pages. The web pages designed using HTML were static and could not be changed after the browser rendered them. However, with the growth of internet, people demanded the websites to have greater interactivity and better visual design. But HTML could only provide static web pages. Thus, the demand of more interactivity created the need for a new web programming language. Hence, Netscape developed JavaScript. JavaScript is a scripting language that allows you to add programming escapes to create web pages. A scripting language is a simple, lightweight programming language that does not contain the advanced programming functionalities of languages like C and Java. JavaScript is used in web pages to improve the design and validate the forms. It adds interactivity to HTML pages and is inserted directly into the HTML code. Today, mostly all the web browsers like Mozilla Firefox, Chrome, Safari, and Internet Explorer support JavaScript. Using JavaScript, a web page no longer remains static but can include coding that allows interactivity with the user, control the browser, and dynamically create HTML content. We learned how to create forms using Composer. When the user enters data in the form, he might leave some of the important fields empty or may enter the data in a wrong format inside the field. In such cases, there must be some type of validation provided. This validation will restrict users from making mistakes. When the user enters wrong data or leaves a field empty, an error message should be generated and the form should not be submitted. The most common form of JavaScript application today is client-side script, which runs inside a web browser. It is used to validate the data entered in the HTML forms on the client side before sending it to the server. Using JavaScript, the form is generally checked for the following things. Has the user left any required field empty? Has the user entered a valid email address? Check whether contents of two fields are same or not. Has the user entered a valid date? Has the user entered text in the numeric data field? Say for example, in the quantity field instead of numeric data, user entered text. Before starting to learn about how to validate a form, let us first learn how to write a JavaScript code. JavaScript code runs from within the HTML web page. Thus, the JavaScript code can be put directly inside the web page code as a separate section. The JavaScript code is inserted into an HTML page using the opening script tag, closing script tag. The lines between the opening script tag and closing script tag contains the JavaScript code. Remember, JavaScript is a case-sensitive language. JavaScript can be placed inside the opening body tag or opening head tag section of an HTML page. But generally it is preferred that the code be placed in the opening head tag. The opening script tag tells the browser to interpret all the text between the opening script tag as a script. Let us write a simple JavaScript code using the source view in Composer. This figure shows the source view with the JavaScript code. Save the file and open it in the browser. You can see that inside the opening script tag, we have written a single statement, document.write hello students. Here, write is a method which is a part of the document object. The string to be displayed is passed as variable to the method document.write. The semicolon seen in this figure at the end of the statement is optional in JavaScript. The semicolon is used as a mark of separation rather than termination. Thus, if you place each statement on a new line, then you need not put a semicolon. In our example, even if we remove the semicolon after the document.write statement, the result would be same. However, putting a semicolon is a good programming practice. The output of the code as seen in the browser is shown in this figure. Note: JavaScript statements can be grouped together in a block. A block starts and ends with the curly bracket. Let us now learn how to write a simple JavaScript for form validation. First, we will create a simple form with two fields, a name field and submit button. For form validation, if the user leaves the name field empty and clicks the submit button, then a message should be displayed that asks the user to enter the name. Follow the steps given to perform the operation. Create a new file and save it. In the example, we have saved the file with the name js1.html. Create a new form using form define form. Give a name to the form. In our example, we have named the form as js1. As shown in this figure, insert a label and input text field for the displaying name. Also, insert a submit button. Note: the names given to the form input field or any other fields created in the form should be kept simple and easy to remember, as they will be referenced in the script frequently. Go to Form Define Form. This will open the Form Properties dialog box as shown in this figure. Click on Advanced Edit button. This will open Advanced Property Editor dialog box as shown in this figure. Select the JavaScript Events tab. In the Attribute option, select On Submit and in the value write Return Validate Form as shown in this figure. Press OK button. Now open the source view add the script inside the opening head tag as shown in this figure. As seen in the script tag of this figure, we have defined a function validate form, a variable x, a conditional statement if, built-in function alert, an object named document, a method named focus. Let us discuss each of them in brief. Function validate form bracket. A function that is also called routine is a reusable block of code that performs a particular task. A function is defined by the keyword function and the block of code is written inside the curly braces. Here, validate form is a function. JavaScript provides some inbuilt functions such as alert. The alert function takes the text and displays it in an alert box. For example, here the function hello when called will display an alert box with the message hello students. The function will be executed by an event or when it is called inside a source code. A function can be called anywhere from within the source code. We can define the function in the head or the body section of the HTML code. A function is called by its name. It can also take a value inside the parenthesis. This value is passed as a parameter to the function. Sometimes you want the function to return a value. This is possible by using the return statement. The use of return statement will stop the function from executing and return the specified value. In our example, the function validate form is called on the click event of the submit button. Thus, when the user clicks the submit button, which is known as an event, the function is loaded and the statements inside the function will be executed. The function returns a false value. Events. JavaScript is useful in creating interactive web pages which responds to the action performed by the user. The interaction between the user and the web page causes the browser to generate an event. In other words, when the user does something, an event takes place. This table gives a list of JavaScript events. Event abort. Description: loading of image is cancelled. Event blur. Description: element such as a radio button becomes inactive. Event click. Description: user clicks on a form element. Event change. Description: value of a form field is changed by the user. Event error. Description: error occurs during loading of a document or image. Event focus. Description: element such as button becomes active. Event load. Description: document or image is loaded. Event mouse out. Description: mouse moves off the element. Event mouse over. Description: mouse moves over the element. Event reset. Description: form fields are reset to default values. Event select. Description: user selects a form field. Event submit. Description: user submits a form. Event unload. Description: user leaves a page. When an event occurs, a specific JavaScript code is executed in response to a given situation. This JavaScript code is known as event handler. Event handler names are kept the same as the name of the event. For example, the click event will have an event handler as onClick. Likewise, submit event have an event handler as onSubmit. In our example, we want the validation to be done when the user clicks the submit button, that is on the submit event. So we need to use the onSubmit event handler. Therefore, in this figure, we had added an event handler onSubmit. This event handler will call the function validateForm. The function will return a value either true or false depending on whether the name field has a value or null, that is, no value. Variable. In our example, inside the function validateForm, we have a statement var small x is equal to document.js1.name.value. We have declared a variable named small x. A variable is a container for storing data. Remember that the variables in JavaScript are also case sensitive. So, a variable small x is not the same as variable capital X. The variables can store numbers, strings or text. In JavaScript, we can declare a variable using var keyword. For example, var small x is equal to 3, var small y is equal to hello, var small z is equal to hello students. If statement. You must be familiar with conditional statement if. The conditional statement if is used to change the flow of the program. The if statement evaluates an expression to validate specific condition. If the condition is true, then the program enters if block and executes the statements inside it. In our example, we have used the if statement to check whether the variable small x is having null value or not. If the variable small x is having null value, then the statements inside the if block will be executed. Document object model, that is document.js1.name.value. Sometimes you may want to use JavaScript to control the web browser. For example, you may want to change the web page or control the elements of the web page. To control the web browser window or the web page, we use the browser object model, that is BOM. All browsers are split into different parts or objects that can be accessed using JavaScript. These parts are known as the browser object model or BOM. On the top of this browser hierarchy is the window object as shown in this figure. It represents the hierarchy of entire browser along with the toolbar, menu, status bar, web page, and many more. We can use the properties and methods of objects in the browser object model to change the window or elements displayed in the browser. We do not have to create an object in a browser object model. They are created automatically when the browser opens the web page. The top level object in the browser object model is window object. Window object represents the browser window or individual frame within the window. It is created automatically by the browser. The window object is the global object as it contains all the other objects of the browser object model within it. For example, window object contains the document object. We use the methods and properties of the window object to control the web browser window, while the methods and properties of document object are used to control the web page. The document object is the most important object in the browser object model. It is used to represent the web page displayed in the browser. All the elements of the web page like forms, images, links, and others are contained within the document object. For example, the form object, which is used by JavaScript to represent forms created using the opening form tag element, is within the document object. Just as the document object contains a form object, similarly, The form object contains element object. The element object is used to reference each element in a form. The element objects can be radio, text, checkbox, or any other object. The focus method. In the script, we have also used a method named focus. It is used to apply focus on a particular element of the form. Thus, after the user gets an alert message calling the focus method, the cursor will be placed inside the element and the particular element will be highlighted. Here, the name element will be focused. Let us now open the file in the browser. The output as shown in this figure will be visible to us. Keep the name field empty and press the submit button. You will see an alert message as shown in this figure appear on the screen. The alert message is the result of the script that we had written in the source view. This is the validation that we have provided in the form using JavaScript. Thus, a form having more fields can be validated to check if the user has kept any of the fields empty. You must have observed while filling forms on internet, some fields are marked with a red color asterisk mark. This is an indication to the user that it is a compulsory field which should not be kept empty. Using JavaScript, we can check the entry in such fields and provide the alert message to the user. Let us now add another field in the form named pin code. The validations which we will apply on this field are: user should not keep the field empty. Only numbers are allowed, that is, characters are not allowed. The pin code should be 6 digits long. If any of the validation is violated, the user will be displayed an alert message. Follow the steps given to create such a validation. In the same form, insert a label and an input field for pin code. In the source view, add the script as shown in this figure. As seen in the script, we have declared another variable named small y. The variable small y will hold the value of the pin code field. In the if condition, we have used a function named isNan bracket. Let us understand this function. IsNan. To work with numeric values, JavaScript uses built-in functions. One of most commonly used numeric function is isNan. Nan stands for not a number. The function isNan value determines whether the value is nan, that is, not a number. It returns true if the value is not a number and false if the value is a number. For example, isNan123 returns false as the value 123 is a number. isNan_hello returns true as the value hello is not a number. Thus, using if statement, we check if small y is empty, not a number, or not equal to 6 digits. If any of the condition is violated, then the alert message will be displayed to the user. Open the file in the browser. The output will be as shown in this figure. Enter the name in the name field. That is, do not keep the name field empty, as this will again generate the alert message for it. Keep the pin code field empty and press the submit button. This will show an alert message as shown in this figure. Now enter some characters or numeric value less than 6 digits length in the pin code field. This will generate the same alert message as shown in this figure. Here we have generated the same alert message for all the three validation in the pin code field. If you want that The alert message should be displayed appropriately as per the validation. Then we need to modify the script. In the example, we used a single if condition for all the three validations and gave the alert message. Now, to display the alert message as per the validation, we need to add three if conditions. This figure shows the script with three if conditions. Open the file in the browser. Enter some characters in the pin code field and press the submit button. This will show an alert message as shown in this figure. Enter some numeric value less than 6 digits length in the pin code field and press the submit button. This will show an alert message as shown in this figure. Thus, you learned how using JavaScript we have added interactivity to our web pages. Now, let us take the registration form that we had created in the chapter 1 and add JavaScript to it. To apply validations, we will make some simple changes in the form that are listed below. Gender and hobby field will not be kept initially selected. Address field has no initial text. City field has an option choose the city, whose value is -1. All the other options in the city field like Ahmedabad, Rajkot, Surat have values 1, 2, 3 respectively. To make the above changes, open the form and select the respective field in the form. Go to Form field. This will show the properties of the respective field and make the changes. The form after making the changes will look as shown in this figure. Go to Form, Define Form. Alternatively, you can right-click in the form and select Properties option. This will open the Form Properties dialog box as shown in this figure. Click on Advanced Edit button. This will open Advanced Property Editor dialog box as shown in this figure. Select the JavaScript Events tab. In the Attribute option, select On Submit and under the Value option, write Return Validate Form bracket. Press OK button. Add the script shown in this figure inside the head tag section as of the HTML. As seen in the script, we have initialized 4 variables small x, small y, small z and small r. In the statement, var x is equal to document.form1.firstname.value. The term form1 refers to the form name. Term firstname refers to the element name, that is, the name given to the input field first name. Thus, variable small x stores the value of first name. Variable small y stores the value of middle name. Variable small z stores the value of last name. Variable small r stores the value of address. In the script, using the if condition, variable small x checks if the first name is empty or not. Variable small y checks if the middle name is empty or not. Variable small z checks if the last name is empty or not. Variable small r checks if the address is empty or not. The radio buttons for gender field are grouped by the name gender. Thus, gender is an array with 2 elements. The first element of the gender array is checked using the if condition with the statement document.form1.gender0. Checked and second element of the array is checked using the statement document.form1.gender1.checked. If both of them are false, then no option is selected by the user. Thus, alert message is displayed and the focus is placed on a radio button. Similarly, the checkboxes for the hobby field are grouped by the name hobby. Thus, hobby is an array with 3 elements. Just as we checked the gender using the if condition, we check the hobby, and if all the 3 elements are false, then no option is selected, and the user is displayed the alert message to select a hobby, and the focus is placed on the checkbox. For the city field, we check if the value is equal to -1. Note, -1 is kept as the value for option choose the city, in which case no option is selected and the user is given an alert message. The figure A to B shows some of the alert messages displayed after the fields are left empty. This figure shows the final form with all the fields filled as seen in the browser. Thus, we learned how to use JavaScript for form validation and make the web pages more interactive.